Yeah, that's a really important question, especially early on. So, in elementary is where you see a lot of tutoring and intervention come in. If kids aren't receiving intervention when they're already falling behind in elementary school, the schools tend to leave the kids behind because classrooms are so full. Most classrooms nowadays have at least 25 kids, and if one of 25 kids is struggling with math or literacy, the teacher doesn't have time to stop whatever they're doing to help that kid. So a lot of times you have a lot of kids and there's just so much that a teacher can do. And schools already are having so many budget cuts and so much of their funding is being allocated elsewhere that they can no longer take the time to help that kid. And so now they fell behind this week because they were out sick or they didn't understand a topic. And now that they didn't understand that, next week it's just going to be more and more and more because there's no one on one anymore.
I can see that this has been an absolute issue in a lot of our educational systems and schools today. Teachers also feel like they cannot connect with their students one on one on that personal level. And students, sadly, because there's so many of them in a classroom, they do tend to fall behind, especially the ones that are already struggling. So, the article, The Impressive Effects of Tutoring on Pre K 12 Learning, a Systematic Review and Meta Analysis of the Experimental Evidence, is a working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research. It was first published in July of 2020, and it was created by several researchers. What I find really interesting about this paper is that it's actually the first systematic review and meta-analysis that looks across all rigorous experimental evidence on tutoring within the elementary school range. So I hope everyone can see my screen here. I just want to read a little bit from the article. So when students in a classroom span a wide range of skill levels, teachers struggle to address the needs all at once. Students who miss out on foundational knowledge and skills tend to fall farther and farther behind and are also less able to follow along in class. So this really just piggybacks on what we were just discussing.
Yeah, it absolutely does kind of piggyback off of it. You can see that as kids are working through trying to catch up, a lot of them tend to continue to fall behind. And as they continue to fall behind, behavioral issues start coming into play. And then because of behavioral issues, they fall even more behind.
Yes, and all those students that are already behind, they are going to need that extra support. They are going to need that extra one on one relationship connection building with the teacher as well in order to get them further ahead. And without that, there are going to be it could lead into serious and detrimental effects because students that are not getting the help that they need are going to be moved along and passed without even fully understanding and acknowledging what they're actually learning.
I definitely think that those small gaps in knowledge that the kids are experiencing early on in life become such a detriment later on is because they don't have a strong foundation anymore. And while the gaps might seem small at first, it's like you're building a pyramid. If you're missing the entire bottom, nothing's going to stay standing. And so
Mm.
it's really important to understand that these kids are learning these skills at a certain time for a reason. And that reason is being that it is their foundation. If they don't have basic reading comprehension, then how are they supposed to take English in high school? How are they supposed to be able to read something and analyze it and kind of really decipher what it means? And then that just transpires into their whole life. And so it's really important to understand that those small gaps really impact those kids because they are missing so much.
I couldn't agree more. I think there are definitely a lot of missing holes there um, to try to get a whole full classroom of kids to learn the same subject and be on the same curriculum